Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, and that's a great start to a new week. And I know that God's blessings are in store for us this week if we'll put Him first. And I am confident of that. I was thinking this morning about the passage from the book of Isaiah that says, His ways are not our ways, His thoughts are not our thoughts, basically indicating that the way He thinks about things is higher than the way we think. And certainly I know that to be true. God has this way of walking ahead of us and understanding what our future looks like and understanding what the the whole picture looks like and how it's going to all come together. He has this amazing ability to maintain perspective, and that's what I want to talk to you about today is perspective. So many times I think we get consumed by what we can see immediately in front of us. And yet, the Bible tells us we're supposed to walk by faith and not by sight. And so sometimes I think our major issues in life is that we are consumed by what we can see. We are consumed by the here and now, the thing that's in front of us, the doctor's report, the bank statement, the governor's latest edict, or the president's latest press conference. We are consumed by the thing that is directly in front of us. And many times, because we are consumed by what is directly in front of us, we miss out on the massive amounts of things that God is doing all around us every day. I thought about there's a song, I think, by a country singer, George Strait, that says, I saw God today. And he's walking down the street, and he's going to see a baby, his grandchild being born, or he sees a flower popping up through the ground, and he recognizes that that's the handiwork of God. And I wonder sometimes if our lives, what they would look like, what our perspectives would look like, if we would begin to look for God's hand in things and not only expecting God's hand to move when it gets really bad. If we would begin to see God as He works and see God's work being accomplished in us, if we would look for that first instead of always waiting until it's about to explode and then waiting for God to intercede on our behalf. I believe if we would look for God, our perspective would change, and suddenly the issues that we're struggling with, we would realize that they're so much smaller compared to the greatness of our God. Um, I, I think about the passage that says, the earth is His footstool, the heavens are His throne. And I wonder sometimes if we recognize just how great and just how big our God is. I think we limit His ability to intervene on our behalf because we don't see Him as how great He is. The scripture says, magnify the Lord with me. And I've often thought, how in the world can you make God any bigger? I mean, He's about as big as possible. But it's not a matter of making Him bigger in His eyes, because that's impossible. It's really about making Him bigger in our own. And if we would gain the perspective and recognize that God is so much greater and so much bigger, and if we would put our faith and our trust in Him for all the things that we face, all of a sudden our perspective would change and we would recognize just how amazing our God is. This past week, I got some news that kind of scared me a little bit, and I immediately began to think of all the negative that could possibly come to pass because of it, and all the bad that could happen, and it kind of paralyzed me with fear for about a day. And then I did some research, and then I went and actually visited with the doctor, and we had a long conversation, and I began to gain some perspective. And when I did, all of a sudden, I wasn't so afraid. And I began to be able to trust God with my situation because perspective changes what I see. And all of a sudden, I can see that it's not going to destroy my life, that I do have hope for tomorrow and that things can be better. And my perspective is what determines that. I've often, if you take a 2-inch piece of cloth and you put it directly in front of your face, that's all you can see. But if you hold it just one arm's length out, just hold it an arm's length out, all of a sudden all of the surrounding area comes into view, and it makes so much more sense about what is happening in your life. So this morning, and as we begin this week, I want to encourage you, don't stare at the doctor's report. Don't stare at the bank statement. Those all things are fixed. You know what they look like. Instead, begin to look around and see God as He works in your life. See the handiwork that He is so masterful at putting into place. And as you begin to notice those things, the blessings that have come into your life, the people that God brings into your life, the kind words that are hurled at you sometimes and you don't even notice them, think about those things and allow God to begin to piece this amazing mosaic of beauty into place, because you took a step back and you got it from his perspective. God bless you today. I love all of you. I'm so thankful you've joined us on this journey I know the virus has made us distant, but I feel like in some ways we've been able to get closer because we've been able to join together in things like this. I pray today that God would bless you and keep you and let his face shine upon you. I believe God has great things in store. God bless you. Have an awesome week.